Greetings of peace and paradise, family. We're here tonight and we enjoy coming together, collaborating in the midst of all that, everything that is going on in this state of emergency with wellness, wealth, and freedom and equities. It's an honor to have Imani, who initially was one who did not see COVID as a real threat. And she was fortunate enough that she had the amazing arsenal of Daily Detox Plus, Restore, and V Plus, which now she has her own wholesale account with imaniwellness.navonglobal.com. And wanted to get a chance to just talk to you, Imani, and for you to share what I've got a chance to hear. But I think it's hugely impactful when other people get a chance to hear how really simple things get a chance to help your body take out the trash, end up improving your mind, body, and immune fuel by connecting your system with the best of what it needs, utilizing the Daily Detox Plus, Restore, and V Plus. So if you could share with us, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I, didn't imagine that I would begin using my daily detox and restore at the time when I absolutely needed it, but it happened to arrive uh, on my doorstep the day that I was starting to feel a little under the weather. And I just figured I was, just a little rundown. I had been overworking myself and just needed to rest. And woke up the next day as I began trying to cook something and couldn't smell, any of the food I was preparing. So I knew at that point that, I must have COVID. And I started, I guess the day before I had started my detox and my restore, but I wanted to stretch my product. So I was sparing with it. I was only doing one dropper in the morning and I think one dropper in the evening. And on the third day, I went to do COVID testing. And as I was waiting for the testing, I was just kind of thinking about how I'd been feeling and, was almost totally back to it was in a total different condition than I was on the Saturday when I had initially started to not feel well. And I knew, because of the lack of smell that likely my test was positive, and it was. But by the fourth morning, I really was back to myself, not feeling any body ache or just beat down. Was really like, I felt like the first day, like something serious was coming, but I work with little children and I thought that it was some type of like stomach thing that tends to get me every now and then, being with the little people. But by that Wednesday morning, if I hadn't tested positive for COVID, I would have gone back to work. Like I felt great, really. I was more than fine. And I knew that the Detox Plus and the Restore were the things that contributed to that, because I wasn't taking anything else during that time. I think I might have taken like Motrin one time um, and didn't take it again. And I was only just using, I said, okay, well, I know about the detox. So I'm going to use what I have. If there's any other time that, sort of I can see what it's all about, this is it. And I was just taking that 2 times a day, and by the fourth day was feeling ready to just be back on my feet and do what I usually do each day. And had it not been a positive COVID test, I would have been back at work. And that's pretty much, yeah, my story. But so thankful to have
Well,
had
it's
those products then.
a spectacular story and a very welcome one when you think about, what happens when things go the opposite direction and things get worse when people feel that coming on, and it gets sometimes really, really dangerous. And I really loved hearing you tell your story, and it's very well told. I like that you're working with children, and so you're exposed constantly, which probably gives you a bit of an advantage in the immune response, because you're constantly exposed to whatever's out there in the general population. And I think, in trying to think why were you able to withstand it and do so well, it's kind of a simple explanation, and that is that your immune system was up to the challenge. And so when something bad came along, it did attack, and then you responded, and your response was successful. So you didn't wind up paying the giant cost that some people do. If there's somebody who happens to be listening that likes to know the details about that kind of stuff, it's interesting, because whenever someone gets better using these products, it's because primarily with our Daily Detox Plus product, which is really the flagship and the one that carries the miracles with it, it's always about something that was there hurting you that is now gone. And a real simple way to think about it is when you take the very first drops of Daily Detox Plus, what happens is that the very next time you urinate, some of the poisons leave you in your urine. So the concept behind this product is that you take it orally, it leaves your guts, circulates systemically in your body fluids, and picks up things that are poisonous because they are too positively charged. And then those are become near neutral with the product together, and that's very easy. It's not an extra stress on your kidneys. Actually makes their life easier, and it's passed in that way. And now it's like a tool that you swallow, a cleaning tool. It does what it can, goes on, you put more in, does what it can, goes on, and you can continue that just like brushing your teeth. It's a new way of hygiene. There is a real cool, interesting detail when it comes to viruses, and that is that viruses, when they replicate, is how, they're going to go into our cells and start stealing our DNA and cutting it up to make whatever they need to make a new virus. And that eventually bursts the cell that they're in, and that's why we hurt. That's why your throat gets sore and you get a headache and you can't smell or taste or whatever the damages are being done, is because it's tearing up your cells. Interesting thing is, the viral assembly occurs after that cell has been all torn up like that, and that viral assembly partially occurs because there's a little charge on the end of some of the parts, and that's how they find each other. That's how the virus particles find each other. And those that are positive will get stuck to the detox particle, and then that becomes neutral, and it'll carry. This is on the outside of the cage instead of the inside, and that'll get carried away. And it's sort of like going to a construction site and taking the bricks or the 2x4s or the drywall or the nails, something that's needed. You can't complete the manufacturing, and so the virus winds up failing to replicate itself. And so that would be one way of kind of thinking about that. So it's a way of your immune system being stronger and working better. And it's happy to hear your story. I think most people would be compelled by hearing what you said more than what I said, but sometimes people get a kick out of thinking, well, oh, wow, that happened. Is that logical? Will that happen when other people do it? Is that true? And of course, in today's world, we don't claim that we can diagnose, cure, treat, heal anything, but what we can do with the natural product is return to health. And whatever you leave behind, that's just fine.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. We appreciate you both immensely, and we're going to stop the recording.